not nervous because of the speech. I'm nervous because mother and mother-in-law are meeting today. I'm the only one who's going through that right now. I would like to dedicate this meditation. Does it work? Okay. To my brother, Jonathan Ortiz Sanchez. Inhale. All the way to the bottom of your abdomen. Exhale. You're done. Inhale. Exhale. Look around. Listen. Feel. When I stand before you at the day's end, you shall see my scars and know that I had my wounds and also my healing. Khalil Gibran. We stand here at the end of this very, very, very long day with a few very, very, very long nights, with our wounds and our healing. We have wounds from exams, from resits, supplementals, bell ringers, practicals, OSCE bells, OSCE bells. I was doing a health fair recently and someone approached me and asked me, is it true that everybody comes out of there with PTSD? I couldn't respond, I was having a flashback. We have the wounds of cortisol and insulin wreaking havoc on our bodies like two giant steel balls in a pinball machine. You know what a pinball machine is? Because with you, sometimes I don't know. We have the wounds of sneaking across the street to sample the forbidden medical equipment. We have the wounds of having a lecture occupied by someone who offers it for free outside of lecture hours, with a meal included. We have the wounds on our hips, on our eyes, on our mood, of the learning dungeon. We have the wounds of spending very, very long hours in a dark, windowless room, which I believe is a form of torture in some countries, like the United States of America. More importantly, we've had our losses. We have the wounds from those that cannot be here today, that would have been so proud of us today, that in part we did this for. We have had our healing. From their courage, we got courage. From the courage they had to live and to fight for their lives, we got courage and determination. For the less transcendental affair of moguls and stickers and exams, we had some assessments that themselves were healing. We had a musical quiz that I found very healing, as I found any assessment that allowed me to explain why, as opposed to a multiple choice. I lived in New York City. When you ask me what, I say, what? You ask me why, I get excited. I wonder why I'm this way, why you're this way. This is as good a part as any to remember Dr. Clough, who gave us that musical quiz. Degree, or diploma, doctor, or supergalactic starship trooper. Nobody is going to have Dr. Clough. No, I cannot imagine going through this program without his influence. I remember one thing of the many that I could mention about him. It was the garden walk, or more specifically, the spit poultice, which he taught us on that garden walk. For this meditation, visualize a clinic that actually is a trail. Looking at you. And where the compounding room flanks that trail, and where you play with those medicines, when you get to know them, when your little rambunctious nephews and sons and daughters can occupy themselves. I don't know if you want to visualize chewing up that plant and spitting it into someone's skin, but we can find a way that's legal and safe, I am sure. Heal because we have first-hand experience of every adaptogenic herb and every acupuncture point for calming the mind. We know treatments that work. We have had the ecstasy of conditions that resolve. I know I found some of my answers. Did you find some of your answers? Did you heal? How did you heal? I heal with you. Who helped you heal? I was impressed by the choices you had for this task. It looked like a complete society. It looked like excellence in administration, like I'm sure, future president of this school or her own school. You had excellence in scholarship and research. And with all due respect, you had Junior Godfrey. Some of you went for the hoodlum. I don't know the local culture. Maybe people in Toronto occasionally vote for hoodlums. So I'll do my best. Last year, you voted me most likely to lead a naturopathic revolution. Is that what you were looking for? Some seditious activity, some rally, some protest? When I say nature, you say power. Nature. Power. Nature. Power. When I say plant, you say power. Plant. Power. Plant. Power. Let's work on it. We're really not dressed for it anyway. Dollars have never been known to produce character, and character will never be produced by money. William Keith Kellogg. I was struck by this quote from a familiar name. You might recognize that name from that book, which maybe we never opened, on hydrotherapy, where they have the genealogical history of hydrotherapies. John Harvey Kellogg, who also wrote Rational Hydrotherapy, all 1,200 pages of it. It struck me. They are actually brothers. They did not invent dehydrated cereal. That was some other dude. They actually had a batch of wheat cooking for the clinic in Michigan. And they got busy with the sanitarium. And it dried up and became stale. They had no money, so they could not afford to throw it out. They tried to put it through a machine to make dough. It was stale. It didn't become dough, it became flakes. That's his history. The brothers argued at some point about whether to put sugar in the porridge. William, which you just heard, wanted to put sugar to broaden the appeal of the porridge. John was militant. He was like, no, we're not having that. They actually separated. He formed his own company. William formed the company, you know. Some sources say they never spoke again. Some say they had a long-standing feud. Would you like to know the recipe? recipe. Milk corn, sugar, malt flavoring, salt, and BHT for freshness. At what price fame? At what price wealth? At what price power? I also received another recipe from Patti Smith, who just so happens to be my mother-in-law, but is also the punk rocker, the godmother of punk. At the recent exhibit at the Art Gallery of Ontario, she gave me a piece of advice through her work. Make your interactions with people transformational, not just transactional. It inspired me. And I bring this to you because I think the young profession has to be very watchful of its boundaries, of its clinical, educational, commercial boundaries. I bring this to you because I am an example that service produces results. It gets you to give speeches that don't make you sleep for a week, and occasionally brings in income. Unconditional, non-judgmental, patient-centered advocacy and empowerment will keep your clinics full. And I bring this because I want to say relax. You're going to be all right. You're Canadians. You're going to be all right. It's not like you're going to fall in love with a Puerto Rican and move to the last colony on the planet. Woo! And I bring this to you because I feel that you made a more important choice. I feel that you chose something more than a business, more than a profession, more than an income and a livelihood. You can hold back from the suffering of the world. You have free permission to do so, and it is in accordance with your nature. But it is perhaps this holding back the one suffering that you could have avoided. Franz Kafka, Via the Wire, the best show in the history of television. You chose to care. You chose to help. You chose to open your door to someone else's pain and to sit with their suffering. I'm breathing into the microphone. You chose to be their companions. And you chose something beyond that you may not have been aware of. When I went to the first gathering at Bastyr University, they had a video of Dr. Bill Mitchell, who had just passed away. He said the mission of the immune system is inherently political. And naturopathic medicine is the immune system of society. So its mission is inherently political. We are in the profession of preventing, mediating, and resolving conflicts. Physical, psychological, environmental. And you made a more important choice than a profession. You chose a vocation. Do not, under any circumstances, shut the air and sunshine from your home. Do not mind if the furniture, curtains, draperies will fade. It is better to let them fade than you should. Louisa Lust. I was struck by the lack of female historical figures in that chart that I told you about in hypothermia. In every chart that you have of history. And I wonder if for some reason women didn't understand nature with their privileged experience of all life processes. So I looked into the book Nature Doctors, and the one chapter dedicated to a female doctor was to Louisa Luz. Eloisa Strobel, her maiden name, who was a brilliant physician in her own way, who was not only a financial supporter of Benedict Luz, but actually an emotional supporter, who had a very busy practice focused on women's health, and with the funds she raised from her practice, saved the profession at many different times when we were taken to court. She also said she disliked whimpering cowards. She sounds like a very intense person. And she was very committed to the principles of naturopathic medicine and to the cures. Contrary to her male counterparts, she really emphasized taking the cures home. She emphasized lifestyle, diet, and the things that people could do away from the clinic. I would like to propose a reflection on nature. To the extent that we speak of our principles, and we speak of the vis medicatrix naturae, the healing power of nature. And since in my 4 years here, we focus on one concept, with this, and drop the other two. 3 concepts, and focus on one. It sounds familiar in Western civilization. And I want to suggest to you that we don't salute the power of nature as something independent. That the debate is not whether it's material or immaterial, but that it's immanent. That the power is in nature, that the power is nature. As a system of relationships. Or if you prefer less rigid language, as a dance of movements. Would you like to dance? Well, this can sound very heavy, but it doesn't have to be. I leave you with the words that Louisa Luz shared with her colleagues and what used to be her mom. Don't give up your enthusiasm. I think I'm doing good for time. So you get an extra start. It's heavy and it's light. Like a speedball, or like coffee with frothy milk. Some of you know, 2 years ago my brother was murdered. That was the 4th year in a row that I lost a very close relative. It's been very interesting. I know I'm not alone. In April, I went to visit one of his sons in New York City. It was the only time I had. It was his birthday. And I thought I had in-office procedures the first Monday, but I actually had integrated therapeutics. I got on a 12-hour Easter traffic bus ride to New York City. I was late that day, I was late the other day. I got lost in the Bronx, but I reached the Bronx. We spent a weekend together. I felt I had to, but I wasn't fully sure why. I gave him a forest bath in Central Park, which is not where you usually do nature cures. He had a plant. He had parsley. I said, "Oh, you can make parsley tea." He said, "I don't drink tea. I drink iced tea." I said, "Why not?" "Because tea is for old people." I said, "Iced tea is for young people?" "No, iced tea is for everybody." I got on the bus back, studied overnight, while some homie listened to gangster rap next to me. I studied headache with a headache. I went across the border at 6 a.m. Some of you know what it means to me to go across the border. Not healing. Fortunately, I passed. You passed. We passed our very last exam ever in the history of anything having to do anything with a CCNM assessment. And after that, I understood why I went. I didn't go to help him. Adults, after all, are responsible for most, if not all, the problems in the world. I went to get his help. I went for him to help me understand life, how life goes on, how we move on, how we heal. What have you learned? What are the lessons you've got from your own journeys in the last 4 years? Try to bring this ship to shore now. I love it when you call me Big Papa. Christopher James, also known as Biggie Smalls. But you know that. It says something about North American education that you don't recognize universal literature, elders in the profession, but you do know a rapper from Brooklyn. I am very grateful for all the support that you've given me. And if you were that supportive to such a strange stranger journeyman, I cannot imagine how supportive you were to yourselves. Every single embrace that I have received has been critical to my survival. I have someone that's depressed mood, hypotensive, tremors. Top DDX is human embrace deficiency. And it is treated with HET, human embrace therapy. I'm also grateful for our professors and supervisors who I know battle in the darkness with us of the learning dungeon, who I know have their own wounds. I'm grateful for people in administration. I once sat in the executive chair, very high in government. It made me do something crazy like come to Canada to study naturopathic medicine. So I know they must also have their wounds and their healing. Oh no, technology is fading again. We're gonna have to do a people's mic. When the authorities ban loudspeakers, groups get together and they use their collective voice to amplify that of the individuals. We're going to have to do a people's mic.
You can hear me. I am grateful. That's you. Speaking now. For my mistakes. I am grateful. For my virtues. I am grateful for my efforts. I am grateful for my accomplishments. I am grateful for the journey ahead.
Inhale. Exhale. It's over. Inhale. It's over when I say it's over. I think it's over. Don't give up your enthusiasm. Thank you.